Hello. I guess now it's almost 2 weeks ago. I flagged this article because I found it incredibly manipulative and pretty also just representative of what the the alt left media and which is really the ruling class media. As much as people like to say that the right is the authoritarian ruling class, that Trump has all this power when there are a lot of forces working against him to try to get him to do what they want him to do. And who is they is something you're not allowed to talk about. But there is a group that makes up a much larger percentage of the they people than in any other group, but you aren't allowed to name them. But anyway, so here's the headline from The Sun. The kids are alt-right. Why white nationalists are spreading conspiracy theories that Trump is being controlled by the deep state and the chemical attack in Syria didn't happen. Now, what I want to focus on first is that this part. The chemical attack in Syria didn't happen. People weren't saying that. People were saying that the chemical attack in Syria probably wasn't perpetrated by Assad. And the reason they're saying that is because we've had proof since 2013 when they first started doing these chemical attacks to try to get us into war, that the CIA had been funding the Syrian rebels that were being trained in Jordan, and then they would come down, and then it was never clear who was doing what. And they have never proved a single one of these Syrian attacks. So people weren't saying it didn't happen. What they're questioning is whether or not it was done by Assad, because he had no motivation to do this whatsoever. The civil war was almost over. ISIS is almost kicked out because Trump actually, sent in, and Russia and the U.S. teamed up and kicked ISIS's ass pretty much. And the media that wants to push this war in Syria did not like that. They did not like that. We were supposed to continue to covertly support ISIS and make them continue to be a problem so we could justify getting into Syria. Now people always ask, why do they want to be in Syria? What's the point? Like, why would anybody do that? Here's the reason. Syria does not have a Western-controlled central bank. Now, neither did Libya when Libya got taken over and then they killed what's-his-face, Gaddafi. He wanted to get away from using the dollar as the currency that was traded for oil. Now, currently, all oil in the Middle East has to be traded for dollars, which is what they call the petrodollar. That keeps the dollar in circulation, and the more a currency is in circulation, the higher its value is relative to other currencies because it's being used more. It's just how currency works. So they being the people who are controlling this global initiative for control. Now they use the U.S. dollar. The U.S. kind of fights the battles for this cabal, we'll call it, that's trying to create a one world government and one world currency, and just have total control over whatever resources, whatever they can get their hands on. Especially the minds of the people who they want to be their minions. They want you in mental slavery. They don't want you thinking for yourself. They don't want you analyzing articles critically. They want you to see these headlines: white nationalists, alt-right, conspiracy theories, Trump. They want you to see all these taglines and just automatically think, oh, evil. These are terrible people. These are who could be saying this. But let's get into the actual article. Okay, a new book reveals how the alt-right movement, which opposes equality feminism. No. We don't oppose equality. We oppose the inequality of feminism. That's what we oppose. And immigration. We don't oppose immigration. We oppose illegal immigration. Used to be confined to the dark corners of the internet. Then came along Donald Trump and everything changed. It wasn't Trump. Trump was sort of a catalyst, but this has been brewing and brewing for years and years now. And then it was coming to a head, and it was just waiting for the one person who was actually going to be real enough and brave enough to come out and say what the masses had been thinking. Late Saturday night in June 2017. So they're going into this June 2017 terror attack on the London Bridge. On poll, politically incorrect. Oh yeah, that's the cesspool. That's where all evil is created. No, that's actually one of the few places on the internet where you can have free thought anonymously, without in the case of Britain, without being arrested for speaking your mind. If you speak your mind under your own name on the internet in Britain, they arrest you for what. It's fucking ridiculous, and people don't believe me when I tell them that. But just go look up Count Dankula's. He taught his freaking dog a stupid Nazi salute. He was just trolling, and he's had a 2-year criminal trial battle to clear his name of the anarchic message board. I guess that might be true to a certain extent, that 4chan does like to see upheaval. Because on 4chan, everyone sort of feels like this world is going down the tubes. We all see it happening, and there's a certain schadenfreude, I guess, like there's a certain joy in seeing it all burn when it's been corrupt, and it's like the fix has been in for all this time. Buzzing with disinfo campaigns. No, I mean, there is a lot of disinfo on 4chan, but if you know how to sift through it, you find a lot of the good stuff. Calls for a race war, that's like just a running freaking joke, but I mean, look at what's been happening. Things have been going towards a race war for all this time. That's the reason. I mean, the media has been pushing a race war. 4chan isn't calling for it. 4chan is just telling you what they see happening. The liberal controlled media, they want there to be it's not a physical race war. They want there to be a mental race war where minorities are supposed to hate white people are supposed to hate minorities, and they want this hegemony. Men are supposed to hate women are supposed to have disdain for men, and it's just they want to divide everybody along these lines of political identity. They want to categorize you into your group based on your racial makeup, your gender, your beliefs, and they want to just pit everyone against each other because that keeps the higher forces in power. If everyone realized what was going on and saw through the bullshit, we'd actually have a chance at going up against the forces, the elite forces that are really at the top, the 1%, whatever you want to call it. And fake pictures of victims and suspects. They had a political point. They blamed ordinary Brits, leftists, and mainstream Islam for the attack. Well, it was perpetrated by someone in Islam, which, I mean, so what are you going to do? Sometimes it's white people, and when it's white people, everybody's really quick to blame ordinary white people for the attack. And it's like, oh, white people are the real terrorists. So, I mean, when the shoe is on the other foot, what do you expect? That's just kind of, that's the way it goes these days. It's not, no one likes it, but that's, everybody, whenever there's a shooting, there's an attack, everybody's waiting to see what group affiliation, what group identity this person has on, so we can decide so the liberal media can decide how to spin this. When it's if it's a leftist or a immigrant or a Muslim, they try to downplay it, and and it's only like Fox News, which Fox News is full of shit. Also, they're part of one of the 6 global corporations that control about 90% of the media. You voted for this, said one. I mean, yeah, kind of. That's kind of what happened. Britain voted for that. They wanted to let all the refugees in, and when things happen, they kind of, it's like, well, it's politically incorrect, but that's, if you let in a bunch of people, there's the odds that some of them are going to turn violent, and people are going to say, well, how'd this person get in here? Why did... This is the way it goes. And now the funny thing is that feminists, they put up this big fight, say, oh, if you don't let in refugees, you're a terrible person. It's like, well, maybe we should focus on not screwing up their country, not creating civil war in their country, so they can actually have a place to be. This Syria civil war was largely manufactured because they've wanted to get into Syria. They've wanted to set up a central bank in Syria for decades now. They want to do the same in Iran. They did the same with Iraq. They did the same with Libya. Like, was Saddam really that bad? Did he have weapons of mass destruction? No, we all know he didn't. It was just they tied it to 9/11 somehow to try to get people to, so they could go in there, like I said, use the resources, set up a puppet government, put in a Western central bank. There's not that many countries left that don't have a Western central bank. Okay, and then they're all gonna go, oh, this is, oh, the alt-right, the Tiki Torch guys that were, in freaking Charlottesville. Oh yeah, let's, okay. See what I mean? So when it's, and these people got bait and switched pretty bad because they look terrible now. But when they did this, when they were organizing, protesting, which if they were black and protesting black inequality, they'd be championed. But so then it wasn't until the next day when that attack happened, and then these guys were just completely smeared, and it was their own fault for putting themselves. Everybody knows that if you're on the right, you can't be seen. You can't be publicly. The fix is in. You can't be publicly represent your values. You just quietly go vote because public opinion, social norms, not even social norms, just social expectations of how you're supposed to view things. You're supposed to be very nice, and just let the entire world, the male is supposed to be just at this point like the walked over. You're supposed to just let the entire world walk over you and say, oh yes, this is how it should be because we had it good. White men, we had it good, and now we have to, who gives a shit? Okay, alt-right forums attempt to dissect and decode conspiracy. So, I mean, this is just a giant smear campaign on 4chan. Okay. They quote a bunch of people. Britain, yeah, why are people pissed in Britain? Because their country doesn't represent the British. It's like same reason Trump got in, because Americans weren't being represented by their government. They were being sold out by their government. No organization. I mean, so this is just a giant hit piece. Charlottesville. I mean, this is 8-9 months after Charlottesville, and they're trying to tie this Syria thing with Charlottesville. Conspiracy theorists. I've known for years and years now that I was going to be public enemy number one for my beliefs about conspiracies about 9/11. And it's basically everything I thought has sort of come to fruition because it was clear. If you have a brain in your head, you could see the writing on the wall years and years ago that they were going to continue pushing gun control. They were going to continue pushing racial divide. They were going to continue pushing just backwards, frankly, anti-American sentiments. And the only thing you can really do is just take care of yourself, do what you know you have to do, keep calm. And when you see things, I don't know, this is how I'm dealing with it. I think I'm trying to create an outlet for myself to actually speak on these things in a place where I can get it out to people without being judged by society, by the thought police for breaking social norms. And I'm trying to do it in a way that's calm enough to where I'm not going to get flagged on YouTube. So, I mean, I didn't really go into much of this article, but you get the idea of what I'm saying.